Good evening. I assume we're ready now. So I would like to call the Personnel, Veterans, and Human Services Committee to order at 7:02. And tonight we will be having two guests. And what I thought we'd do is meet them both first before we go into any of our motions. Is Laura Abrams on the line with us?
She's being brought into the meeting right now.
Thank you very much. Laura, I think I see you down there. This is Ty. How are you?
How are you? I'm well, thank you.
Well, good. You're going to be meeting to begin with our Personnel, Veterans, and Human Services Committee. And I don't know how many you see on the screen. There are 11 of us this evening. You'll be meeting on with the committee that I am on with Peter Blair and Sarah Reynolds. But all the counselors are here, I hope. So thank you very much. I want to just share with our committee and council that Laura will be nominated later this evening for the Disability Commission. And I was wondering, Laura, if you would share with a little bit with us about yourself and what brings you to ask to be on this commission.
I have been an Attleboro resident for about 11 years now in October.
And your address?
I'm sorry?
Your address?
I live at 35 Cumberland Street in Attleboro, Massachusetts. So I've been a resident here for almost 11 years.
Thank you.
And my interest in being part of the Disabilities Commission is because I just see a lot of things that could be improved, made more accessible to people with disabilities, and I want to help and do something to serve the greater Attleboro community.
Is there anything particular that you see? I'm curious personally.
Just overall accessibility issues. For example, I was dropping my husband off at a doctor's appointment at Sturdy in one of the outer buildings, not the main hospital. And, the only handicapped accessible entrance was by the sidewalk, far away from the actual parking lot. So if somebody had a heart condition or some other, couldn't take stairs or something, they'd have to kind of go all the way around the building and be dropped off. So that was one thing that I have seen, and just in general, I see things that things just kind of pop out at me. It make it a little bit more difficult for somebody with accessibility issues, maybe to get around in general.
Would any member of the committee or the council like to ask any questions of Laura?
Laura, I'm sorry.
Richard.
Laura, do you have any familiarity with the ADA regulations?
I do have a little bit of familiarity with them. I did work on a project through an advertising firm that was a construction project in one of the areas where they had to talk about one of the areas I worked on, the construction manual, so that everything is kind of branded the same way throughout all the locations of this retail Giant. And one of the things that they were talking about is just how to be more accessible, where things should be placed to be more accessible. So I have a little bit of familiarity with it.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Councilor Waterman. Thank you.
Yes, Councilor DeSimone.
Thank you, Council Waterman. Laura, first of all, thank you. Thank you for your willingness to volunteer in the Disabilities Commission. Over the weekend, I watched the Crip Camp movie on Netflix that talked about Judy Human rather. But anyway, it reminded me of the importance of the fight for the rights of the disabled and how long it's taken to get where we are and how much further there is to go. So I appreciate your willingness to serve and to keep us all alert and attentive to these issues. So thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Anybody else like to ask anything? So I would want to say, Laura, you and I talked about it, but as we speak, we are already looking at every building in the city for the ADA regulations. And I believe City Hall either just got looked at or is about to be. All the schools, we're going through the whole city at this point in time. So it's a timely, it's a good time to be coming in. Is there anything else that you would like to share with us, Laura?
I think at this time, I don't really have anything else I would like to share, but thank you, Councilor Waterman.
Well, you're welcome to continue watching us. We'll be continuing our business, and we'll be meeting with another person in a minute. So thank you very much, Laura.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. And I was hoping that Tom Moran might be on the line right now. Is he there?
Yep, he'll be coming in a few seconds.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Oh, hi, Tom. How are you?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Good. Tell us where you, tell everybody else where you are residing at the very moment.
Currently, I'm in Florida. My brother was to ask me how the weather was, and you really want to know was my response. It's beautiful down here.
Well, it's beautiful if you like the color white right here.
Yeah, that's what I hear. Yeah.
It's happening. But thank you for coming. Tom has come with the hope that he can, and the mayor is sending down his request for an appointment to the planning board. And Tom, I wondered if you could share with us your background and your interest in the planning board in specific. Sure,
I'm happy to. And good evening, everyone. It's nice to see everyone. Councilor Waterman, thank you. So I'm Attleboro born and raised. I have a vested interest in the city. So recently, in the last 3 or 4 years, I've been trying to find a way to volunteer to get involved in the city and somehow kind of bring my skill set. So I teach history over at Medfield High School. I've been doing that for 18 years now. But I'm an attorney. I'm a practicing attorney. And for 6 years, I worked with Ed Casey and Max Voltaire, and we did a lot of work in the city, or we did municipal planning and zoning. So I do have experience on that side of things. And so I was looking for an opportunity to lend that skill set to the city. And this seemed like a perfect opportunity. But at the same time, so I teach during the day and then I run to the law office at night. But just recently, my wife and I have 2 young boys, and we're just starting to turn that corner where I'm pulling up into the driveway at 6:30, 7 o'clock, where I'm not afraid the house is going to be on fire anymore. So I do have the time to do it. Just recently, in the last year or so. So I feel like this is the perfect opportunity.
Thank you. And your address?
78 Lincoln Avenue.
Okay. Would anybody like to ask any questions of Tom? Councilor Connie.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you for doing this. You have exactly the skill set that is fitting to the planning board. I'm thrilled that you're seeking that position. I just want to let you know that if you go on the City of Attleboro website, you can sign up for receiving all of the planning board minutes and the dockets. Have you done that so far, Tom?
Not yet. I know where it is, but that's actually a good recommendation.
So you're going to want to do that because it's really interesting reading to read the minutes of the planning board,
Sure.
and it'll get you right up to speed. There's a wonderful diversity of characters on the planning board, and the conversations are lively. And I think you're going to fit right in and enjoy it. And thank you for volunteering, and thank you, Councilor Waterman.
Would anybody else like to share? Seeing that is it for this evening, Tom.
Okay.
So we will be bringing your name up for nomination in a few moments.
Sure.
Thank you, and go get a good tan while you can.
I will do. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Okay. So I would like to move on into the motions for the evening. And yeah, here's my, so I can see. So to begin with, from the docket of February 2nd, 2021, I entertain a motion to confirm the appointment of Laura Abrams, 35 Cumberland Street, Attleboro, to an unexpired term on the Disability Commission, term to expire February of 2023. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. And is there any discussion with the committee? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you. And opposed, I see none. So the vote 3-0. And also, moving ahead, from the docket of February 2nd, 2021, I entertain a motion to approve the appointment of Thomas Moran, 78 Lincoln Avenue, Attleboro, to fill an unexpired term on the planning board, term to expire February of 2025, four-year term.
Second.
Thank you very much. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye, thank you. I see none opposed. Vote passes 3-0. And now, from the docket of February 2nd, 2021, we have several more motions. I entertain a motion to transfer $25 from account 1124-1000-578300 Citywide Reserve Fund for transfer to account 116-1100-573010 clerk dues to pay the dues to the Massachusetts City Clerks Association. We were $25 short. I think that's what caused that. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion on this? Seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
And opposed? Hearing none. Vote passes 3-0. And from the docket of February 2nd, 2021, and this is a lot of names, I entertain a motion to confirm the following reappointments for the positions and for the terms as indicated. Hans Schaefer, being appointed Board of Park Commissioners for a 5-year term, February 2026 expiration.
Second.
What I was going to do, Peter, I was going to do the whole group. Would you like to have them individually, Peter? There's quite a
How
group.
many is that, Ty?
Well, let me count. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10.
I'd like to have them separated.
That is fine. So we have a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none. Vote pass.
Time out, point of order. Time out.
Time out.
So if I may, Councilor Blair, is there one in particular that you want to call, that you want to be separate? Because all these are going to have to be separate votes on a roll call vote next week. So they're going to, I just want to make sure that everybody understands that.
Yeah, there is actually only one.
So
Okay,
I asked to have the superintendent of water.
that's not, we're not doing that at the moment. We're doing, we're not reappointing any,
Motion.
go ahead, Counselor Cooper.
Oh, sorry. No, it's your committee. That's the next motion, Peter, which are department heads.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
This
I
group,
got these.
so we'll go ahead. All right,
Do the whole
and
thing.
we'll do all 10. So we've completed Hans Schaefer.
But you can do the rest of them in the group.
Thank you.
Just call them off.
The next name is Leo Johnson, being nominated Board of Recreation Commissioners for a 3-year term, February of 2024. Martha Conti to the Board of Trust Fund Commissioners, 3 years, February 2024. Terrence McCrossan, Constable, 1 year, February 2022. Carol O'Connor, Council on Aging, 4-year term, February 2025. Stephen Burdos, the Council on Human Rights, a 3-year term, February 2024. John Jacoby, Municipal Building Commission, a 3-year term, February 2024. Terry DeSisto, Municipal Building Commission, 3-year term, February 2024. Fred Uriot, Planning Board, 5-year term, February 2026. And finally, Richard Correa, Redevelopment Authority, 5-year term, February 2026. Do I have a second on all these?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion on any of these items? Hearing none, I'll ask for a vote. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. I hear none opposed. Vote passes 3-0. And I'm going to call this from the docket of February 2nd, 2021. I entertain a motion to approve the reappointment of Brian Germain as the Inspector of Gas Piping and Gas Appliances, as well as the Inspector of Plumbing for the term of 3 years, terms to expire February 2024. This is just one person in this motion. Do I have a second? Thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none. Vote passes 3-0. And now we get to the following reappointments. I will honor your request, Councillor Blair, and I'm going to read all the names except for Courtney Wunschel's name. We'll take her up individually. All right. I entertain a motion to approve the following reappointments for the positions and for the terms as indicated. Laban O'Brien, the Alternative Inspector of Wiring, 1-year term, February 2022. Cynthia O'Mara, City Solicitor, 1-year term, February 2022. Gary Rizian, the Director of Planning and Development, a 2-year term, February 2024. Catherine Fierick, the Director of Economic Development, a 2-year term, February 2023. Nicholas Wiley, the Environmental Planner, a 2-year term, February 2023. Scott LaChance, Forest Warden, 1-year term, February 2022. Christopher Quinn, Health Officer, 1-year term, February 2022. Kyle Hegney, Lockup Keeper, 1-year term, February 2022. Owen Babeau, Personnel Director, 3-year term, February of 2024. Thomas Hayes, Superintendent of Wastewater, 3-year term, February in 2024. And Louis Stevens, the Zoo Director, a 3-year term, February of 2024. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion in any of these items? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I hear no opposed. Vote passes 3-0. And finally, from the docket of February 2nd, 2021, I entertain a motion to approve the following reappointment for Courtney Wunschel, the Superintendent of Water, a 3-year term expiring February 2024. Is there any discussion?
Ty,
Yes?
this is Sarah.
Oh, I couldn't see you.
I'm going to vote it to go forward, but I'm not going to vote this positive at the full council.
Okay, so you're bringing it through to the council. Thank you. I appreciate that. Is there any other discussion?
So was that a second?
That is a question.
Consider it as much. Yes.
Okay. So technically, so I'll call it a second unless I hear otherwise. All right. Is there any other discussion? Not at this time. All right. So it is seconded. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye, and as I said earlier, I won't be supporting it next week.
And those opposed? Hearing none.
Oh,
That isn't opposed?
no, hers is a yes. That'll bring it forward. I'm voting no.
You had it right, Ty.
I had it right. The vote passes 2-1. Thank you. And that concludes the business of the Personnel and Veterans Human Services Committee for this evening. I would have I'm going to move for adjournment. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor? Aye. Is there anybody else in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Thank you. It passes, and that concludes the business of the Personnel, Veterans, and Human Services Committee. I will call for the next committee meeting at the next appropriate time. And the committee closes at
Safety.
7:25. Thank you.
Sorry, Ty. Like to call Public Safety Emergency Management to order at 7:22 from the docket of February 2nd, 2021. I entertain a motion to approve expending the Senator Charles E. Shannon Jr. Community Service Initiative 2021 grant for $10,765.30. The Attleboro Police, in collaboration with the Taunton Police, were awarded this grant and request this body to approve expending such funds and any future grant amendments.
Second.
This grant is, we don't have to contribute. It's not a non-contributory grant. And we've been very fortunate over the years to get this. Just a quick preview of what this is. This is mainly for the POP program, which takes referrals from the Attleboro High School, Bristol County Juvenile Probation Department, Attleboro Division of the Attleboro Police Department, crime analysts will make contact with at-risk fringe youth and their family. The youth would be monitored for the behavior traits which are indicative of youth delinquency. Risk factors to include but not limited to aggressive behavior, emotional disturbance, antisocial personality, family alcohol or drug problems, poor family supervision, domestic violence, school suspensions, truancy, and bullying. This POP program is fantastic. It helps so many. And it's a way of using these funds to reach out to the youth of Attleboro. Jay.
Peter, thank you. I say this every year and I'll say it again. I look forward to this grant coming down every year. I think this is one of the grants that sets Attleboro aside, especially as you relate the way that it's used for the POP team. It's It's an amazing grant. Share it with Taunton is outstanding as well. But really what these funds go for really helps so many people that you're not going to read about on the front page of the Sun Chronicle. You're not going to see on Facebook. And, kudos to that pop team over there.
They do a great job, Jay.
100%.
Great. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Move to adjourn at 7:29,
Second.
7:24, I'm sorry.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you.
Transportation and traffic. I'm not going to call a meeting tonight. The Traffic Study Commission is meeting on Thursday, so I hope to have more to report at the next committee meeting. So, thank you.
Capital Improvement and City Development will not be meeting this night, but I'd like to announce that we will be receiving the Capital Improvement Plan at the full council meeting next Tuesday night. And at our next committee meeting, we'll lay down a plan to vet that program and come up with a resolution for the mayor.
Very good.
You're muted. Thank you, Laura. I'll do that all over again. This is moving pretty. I'd like to call the Public Works Committee to order at 7:27. I have 2 items of business to discuss with you this evening. The first is a transfer. I entertain a motion to transfer $9,000 from account 1124-1000-57830 citywide reserve fund transfer to account 14201-000-530101 professional services. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you very much. This came in last week through the mayor's communication. It came down from Superintendent of Public Works, Michael Tyler. This is to replenish their account, which they had diminished by fixing the streetlights down at Elizabeth Street and North Main Street. The repairs to those traffic lights was astronomical. So this is what he did was immediately, rather than wait to come back to the council because they did have to be repaired right away, he just took it out of what he had in his account. So we're just replenishing that account and the lights are all fixed again. Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Secondly, I entertain a motion to transfer $12,600 from account 1124100-57830 citywide reserve fund for transfer to account 1420100-530101 Public Works Professional Services.
Second.
Thank you very much. So the second motion has to do with the state mandates that we inspect our dams, and the Public Works Department is responsible for 3 dams. And they have to do this every year. However, they never know exactly what the cost is going to be. But in speaking with Superintendent Tyler was telling me that in speaking with Director of Finance, Jeremy, I always pronounce his name wrong, Troll. And in speaking with him, he had asked why it wasn't put into their budget, since they really should budget for it every year. Michael had said that because they really don't know what the cost is going to be each year. So they're going to try and incorporate that into their budget this year. And if there's got to be a smaller difference because maybe the fee has gone up, then they'll come in and ask for that smaller difference rather than come in and say, hey, can we have another $12,000? Any comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. I have no further business this evening for the Public Works Committee. I would like to ask for an adjournment.
Second.
Thank you. The Public Works Committee is adjourned at 7:31.
There is no business for budget and appropriations. We will be meeting tomorrow night where we'll start a discussion around the vehicle replacement and maintenance program, which based on what Councilor Conti said is probably good timing. So we'll be meeting tomorrow night at 6.
Perfect. Call call the Zoning and Land Use Committee to order at 7:31. We have two pieces of business tonight. So let's start with from the docket of February 2nd, 2021. I entertain a motion to adopt the City of Attleboro's Hazard Mitigation Plan 2020 update pursuant to FEMA's finding in the Massachusetts Emergency Management Agency's competitive PDMC 17-10 ATT grant contract requirements and request the following resolution be adopted by the council.
Second.
I should read the resolution. City of Attleboro, a resolution adopting the City of Attleboro's Hazard Mitigation Plan 2020 update. Whereas the City of Attleboro established a 26-member steering committee consisting of community volunteers and municipal officials to prepare the City of Attleboro's Hazard Mitigation Plan 2020 update. And whereas the City of Attleboro participated in the development of the Hazard Mitigation Plan 2020 update. And whereas a duly noticed public meeting was held by the Honorable Municipal Council on November 17, 2020 for public and municipal review. And whereas the Hazard Mitigation Plan 2020 update contains several potential future projects to mitigate potential impacts from natural hazards in the City of Attleboro. And whereas the City of Attleboro authorizes responsible departments and or agencies to execute their responsibilities demonstrated in the plan, now therefore be it resolved, the City of Attleboro Honorable Municipal Council adopts the City of Attleboro's Hazard Mitigation Plan 2020 update as approved by the Federal Emergency Management Agency and in accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 40.
Second.
Motion's in order. So this is, remember we had the public hearing back in November, and the council approved the draft. Gary Rasia came down and talked about this plan. It went to MEMA. I spoke to Gary Rasia earlier today. There were only some minor changes that were required from the original plan, and those were, if you remember, when it listed out the potential mitigation pieces, they were listed as near term, medium term, and long term. And MEMA just wanted us to define what that meant. And so near term, it was defined as 1 to 3 within the next 1 to 3 years. Medium term is 3 to 5 years, and then long term projects would be 5-year plus projects. Aside from that, everything remains unchanged. If you haven't gone through the document in detail, it's an incredible document in the thought and effort that went into this. And in my opinion, it's incredibly needed for the city and forward looking. You know the top hazards and things that people are that was looked at as the biggest risks in the city are flooding, wind, and just generally climate change. And then there's a number of mitigation pieces in there for those things. Some of the short-term items are incredible, like having a communications plan for when there's emergencies, in a better communication plan. I remember when we had those storms and the power was out for a number of days. We struggled with communication then. So better communications, better planning for seniors that are homebound, improve stormwater, both repairs and updates, as well as tracking and databases, as well as potentially moving to underground utilities and potential changes in the planning board's recommendations. So it's incredibly thoughtful, and I encourage everyone to support it. That's all. Any comments? None? All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion's in order. Or motion passes, excuse me. So there's that second one. From the docket of November 17th, 2020, I entertain a motion to approve the rezoning petition received from Atlantic Golf Centers regarding 754 Newport Avenue, also known as Assessors Plat number 69 in lot number 26B, to change the zoning of the 39.21 acres of general business in general residence A.
Second.
Seconded by Jay. 1 second. So with this, the planning board met last night and voted in favor of this rezoning proposal unanimously. I still haven't received, when I talked to Gary earlier today, I wanted to get a copy of the certificate of vote. I still have not received that. I expect to receive that before we vote it in front of the full committee. But if Councilor Delicio or Councilor Holmes, if either of you are uncomfortable with doing that, with voting this out of committee before receiving that memo, with the understanding that we'll receive it before the committee meeting next week, please let me know if we can rescind your second. We could talk further about this, but I just want to make sure you're comfortable with that.
Council Corpus, if I may, let's have the
Yes, please.
discussion tonight and then make that decision at the end of the discussion.
Sounds good to me. So with that said, I'll make a couple comments, and then I saw Councilor Conti and President Cooper. I saw both of your hands. I'll get to you 1 second. So as we're aware, we had the public hearing on this. This is to change the zoning for that area. In looking at it, it's not spot rezoning. Across the street is general business. If anything, the planned highway business seemed out of place where it was in general. It makes sense to me. But one of the things that when I took over the zoning committee, the previous committee chair said to me was, when looking at rezoning things that come up, look at the long term, not just the specific project. I happen to be supportive of this specific project, but it's important to also think long term if this makes sense for Attleboro, because once we change the zoning, the project could change. I was 99% of the time that doesn't happen or whatever, but you want to, when you're looking at a zoning change, think long term about what could ever possibly be there. And in this case, I'm supportive of this. I think it makes sense, especially where across the street is also general business. But I'm happy to have a discussion and hear your comments. So first of all, are there any comments from the committee?
Not at this point.
Okay, President Cooper?
Oh, I think Councilor Conti was first.
Okay, Councilor Conti.
Thank you, Councilor Corbus. I think there's a 21-day window where your committee needs to take up the vote with the recommendation of the planning board. And after 21 days, the council can vote on the measure without a recommendation from the planning board. The second thing I wanted to bring up is that in Gary Arazian's memo, there's three conditions that we consider when there's a zoning change. Number one is it's spot zoning, and I agree with you, and I think the planning board agrees with you that it's not spot zoning.
Mm-hmm.
Number two is does it benefit the city overall? And since you're increasing the tax revenues in that improvement by tenfold, it can be argued that it is an improvement for the city overall. Thirdly, the third measure of standard is whether or not it is consistent with the neighborhood. And in this case, this application is without question not consistent with all the single family homes that are in that area. In fact, this development is a blight on the land compared to the single family homes in that area. And because of that reason, I will not be supporting the measure. This rezoning, I think you touched upon it, but Should we rezone the land and this developer fails to get the financing, this rezone can become anything. And it's out of our control because the rezoning has already passed. So for those two major reasons, I won't be supporting this in front of the full council, and that completes my comments.
Thank you, Councilor Conti. President Cooper?
So, thank you, Richard. You said everything I wanted to say, with the exception of one word that I didn't hear you use, which to me is density. I think you said it in a roundabout way, but to me, this project, General Residence A, I don't necessarily disagree with the rezoning petition, but I think, to Richard's point, General Residence A is out of character with the surrounding area, and it's just too dense. So for that reason, and as the Ward 2 councilor, and having the number of complaints and inquiry that I got, I also will not be supporting it when it comes before the full council. Thank you.
Councilor Holmes?
Thank you. So the General Residence A, even though they presented a plan to us, it could be less or even more. I guess that's my question.
It would still need to go before the planning board and all of that and be approved.
Okay. So this is just
with all the traffic considerations and all of that. President Cooper?
So I want to make a comment about that too, though. I feel like I didn't do a density calculation on the acres with the size of the lot. I did not do that. But I think, in order to maximize the return, I think that when this goes before the other boards, they would consider those things. Density for the neighborhood, traffic, all the other things and it's a double-edged sword for the developer, because when they come before us and they want a rezoning petition to General Residence A, if they don't show everything that they're thinking of putting there, we ask the question, well, what do you want to do there? So it's sort of like this double-edged sword. But again, I know I'm repeating myself, but because of just the sheer volume of calls and inquiries and people that live in that area that are affected, people actually said to me they'd prefer single-family homes. They don't want all the trees cut down and the impacts that would be necessary to do 30 or 40 or 50 single-family homes. But I just feel like it's too dense, and so I won't support it when it comes before the full council.
Thank you, President Cooper. Councilor Conti?
Thank you, Councilor Kovas. I forgot one other major reason why I'm in opposition to this project. And if you read the Chief Higney's accident report data that came out 2 weeks ago, the intersection of Newport Avenue and 123, just north of this site, is responsible for 60% of the total intersection accidents in the city of Attleboro for the entire year 2020. 60%. And you're going to add all that density just below that intersection? I don't think so. Thank you for the opportunity to speak again. That concludes my comments.
Thank you, Councilor Conti. Councilor Blair?
I tend to agree with Mr. Conti. I think it's a big project for down there. I don't know if I think the traffic alone is going to be tremendous. And I don't see how I can support it on that magnitude of a project.
Councilor Waterman?
Yes, I am in the same position as Councilor Blair. The traffic is just going to be immense. I can't even imagine turning left if you live north of the area that we're talking about onto Newport, unless you had series of lights. I wouldn't want to live there if this project went in. And I've heard a lot of people come to me as well opposing this project. So that's, I will be voting no.
Councilor Delizio?
Thank you, Councilor Kovitz. So this was one at the beginning I was pretty intrigued by. I wanted to see how it played out. The more and more we went along, the more and more I looked into it. I shared a lot of the concerns that President Cooper shared. But like Councilor Conti, once I saw that number of 60% of the accidents, that's a hard one to get past. It's a hard sell from that point. And I think it's important to note that, just for the record, we're not voting on a project tonight. We're voting on a rezone tonight. And if this project doesn't happen for whatever reason, but the rezone is there, we lose a little bit of control as to what could go there, as I believe Councilor Conti said. But, you know, I'm struggling getting past that 60%. That's a big number, big number.
I would have to look at the difference between if they sell it to something else, planned highway business, what that would look like as far as traffic. But yeah, if fair points from everyone, and I'll look into all of that more to have hopefully have a little more data for next week. But I do suggest I'm open to your thoughts. Do you want to vote this out, or?
Todd, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Because you can't see me.
Correct.
So I just wanted to make a comment for the record, is that, you know, there are so many pros and cons, and I've had quite a few people call me from both ends of the spectrum. Some that say exactly what Mark is saying, you know, and certainly what everyone is saying about the traffic.
Mm-hmm.
Traffic down here in South Attleboro, quite frankly, is horrible and will remain horrible. It's not going to change. It's not going to get better. And so that is definitely a negative. But the pros that people are talking about and have been calling me about is that South Attleboro has no decent apartments. It doesn't. It has very old 2 and 3 family homes, and a lot of people would like to have something higher end to live in. So I don't know if we go back to the developer and ask for a smaller amount of apartments or what the cause should be. But, you know, I think that there is a need for apartments, newer apartments here. There's many of them in Uptown, but there are none of them here in South Attleboro. And so therein is the conundrum, if you will. And that is all I have to say this evening. Thank you.
Councilor Delizio, and then President Cooper.
Thanks, Todd. So Councilor Reynolds brings up, just kind of nudged my memory a little bit. I actually had a conversation with a kid I've known my entire life. He's a contractor back up on the North Shore. And, you know, we were talking about this project. He goes, look, man, he's like, on the surface, it looks great. He's like, but when you think about it, and, you know, he's built very similar developments. He's like, you start out high end, they're not filling right now. High end apartments just aren't filling in the way we want them to. You look at what we have going in with Renaissance Station, we're going to have more down there. But to Council Reynolds' point, you know, we don't really have much in the way of apartments down in South Attleboro. You know, just because we say no to this rezoning now, you know, we always joke, we call them the revised ordinances of the city of Attleboro for a reason. There's nothing preventing them from coming back with something that's a little bit more manageable and kind of fits what the demographic and what the location of this project is.
Understood. But with that said, and with COVID and people being pushed out of the more urban areas and coming to the suburbs, Attleboro's a fairly attractive city for people to be moving into. So good point. So
excuse me, I didn't say that it wasn't.
of course, no. It is.
Okay.
It is becoming more.
About, you know,
of course,
we want to go through this rezone and then have a vacant building.
No, and I was just talking about the way things are changing as a result of COVID that are pushing people further outside of Boston. President Cooper.
No reason for the right project to come in then, I guess.
Mm-hmm. President Cooper.
Thank you. So I would suggest that it would be unprecedented, and I would really have to rack my brain to think of an instance where we voted even out of committee without the recommendation read into the record from the council or from the planning board. So I would suggest that what I'm hearing is I've heard 5 people say that they were not in support of this rezoning petition. I would say that we do not vary from the precedent that we have set with the way that we have done this in the past. So I would suggest that you wait until you have that, till it's read into the record, and then that we can go through the sort of proper, if you will, precedent set a way that we normally handle these.
Fair enough, President Cooper. So, Councilor Delicio, if you wouldn't mind rescinding your second,
Yeah,
or yeah, up to you. But
no, I tend to agree with with President Cooper. I wanted to just second it so we could at least have the discussion on it.
no, and this was a great discussion. So, I appreciate it. And with that said, I move to adjourn at 7:52.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, and we are adjourned at 7:52. Thank you.
I'd like to call License Committee to order at 7:52. I have one motion from the docket of January 19th, 2021. I entertain a motion to approve a Class 2 license application for Trusted Auto, Inc. on 64 Pleasant Street with 5 customer parking spaces and 18 display spaces.
Second.
Thank you. We had the public hearing last week. Does anybody have any questions?
No, I don't.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. And that's all the business I have tonight. And I'd like to call for adjournment at 7:53.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned at 7:53.
Thank you. Reporting for City Property and Claims Committee, I'd like to call to order at 7:53. And I have 4 motions. From the docket of February 2nd, 2021, I entertain a motion to transfer $22,000 from account 11241-000-578300 Citywide Reserve Fund for transfer to account 11241-000-573060 Citywide Richardson School expenses to pay recurring bills incurred at 95 Pine Street.
Second.
Second.
Thank you. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. We understand what's going on over there at Pine Street, and these are issues that come up every year, and the extra dollars is certainly needed this year. Any other concerns, questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that motion passes. All those, yeah, that motion passes. From the docket of February 2nd, 2021, it's hard for me to think of what I'm saying when I can't talk, I can't see myself. From the docket of February 2nd, 2021, I entertain a motion to accept the donation of $125 in Stop and Shop gift cards from the Holiday Spirit Committee for the Veterans Services Office.
Second.
Thank you, Peter. Again, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Any thoughts, concerns? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. That motion passes. From the docket of February 2nd, 2021, the mayor respectfully submits a communication from Health Department outreach worker, case manager, Tisha Silva, and public health nurse, Jacqueline Joyle O'Brien, regarding, oh boy.
Second.
No, don't second. It's not all fully there.
No, 3 and 4 are the same. I think I tried to make it 2 different ones to test you.
Thank you, Virginia. So I'm going to knock out.
I entertain on the second one.
I see what you're doing. Okay. All right. So let me read that again.
Sorry.
From the docket of February 2nd, 2021, the mayor respectfully submits a communication from Health Department outreach worker, case manager, Tisha Silva, and public health nurse, Jackie Joyle O'Brien, regarding a motion to accept the donation of $400 in Stop and Shop gift cards from the Holiday Spirit Committee for the Health Department and Outreach Program.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions or concerns regarding that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, me too. That motion passes, and that is all the business City Property and Claims Committee has this evening. And I would like to call for an adjournment at 7:56.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor of adjourning at 7:56?
Aye.
And that motion passes at 7:56. We are adjourned.
Thank you. I'd like to call Ordinance Election and Legislative Matter Committee to order at 7:56. I only have some updates this evening. So we have a couple public hearings coming up. I did invite Chief Hegney as well as Mike Tyler to come to the next committee meeting to talk about speed humps, because the committee wanted to kind of hear from those department heads before we brought it out of committee and brought it to the full council. So I'm waiting to hear back the confirmation that they can attend, or they can ask somebody else to attend. The other thing is that I'm still waiting for the city solicitor on the environmental ordinance changes. There were some amendments that I had sent her way in early December, and I'm still waiting to hear back from her regarding that. And did any committee members have any questions about those things? Okay, so as that comes out, I will be forwarding her response to some of those amendments, and then hoping to invite those guests for speed humps, and then looking forward to kind of having this next public hearing in the upcoming weeks. And that's pretty much it. I'd like to call for an adjournment.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are
Aye.
adjourned. Thank you. We are adjourned at 7:57. One minute. That's great.
That does it unless Richard has something with his other committee.
The only thing I have in the Rules and Procedures Committee is in the ordinance, has been assigned to the ordinance committee. That's the 940 CMR adoption.
Oh, yeah.
So there's really nothing pending in the Rules and Procedures Committee, because the 940 issue has to be dealt with before we can deal with the Rules and Procedures. So we're kind of on hold and standing by.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So that means we're done for the night.
Good night, everyone.
See you tomorrow.
Have a good night. Bye-bye.
President Cooper,
Yes.
want to give me a call? I got a procedural question sometime this week when you get a chance.
Yeah, I'll call you tomorrow.
All right, pal.
All right,
Thank you.
thanks. Bye.